Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to check out the all-new 7 Series. This is the 2023 BMW 760i xDrive. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. The 760i that you see behind me is finished off in mineral white metallic, and we'll go over the MSRP later in today's video once we go over all of the features and specs and really see what this sedan has to offer. But we're going to start off with what powers the all-new 7 Series. Underneath this hood is the 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 paired to the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission along with the 48 volt hybrid system. This pumps out a combined 536 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. That power sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 5,000 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds with a top speed of 155. It also has a fuel capacity of 19.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 18 miles per gallon in the city, 26 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 126.6 inches. Its overall length is 212.2. It has a width of 76.8 and a height of 60.8 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this all-new 7 Series, let's start off with the massive kidney grille. So it has gotten a little bit larger, but we have the forward-facing camera along with the forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise, and there's parking sensors integrated throughout it. This also has active grille shutters, so the middle section there will open up to provide more cooling to that twin turbo V8. And the headlight, DRL, and turn signal design has also been changed. So this upper housing is just the LED DRLs and turn signals, and then the headlights and the high beams are just underneath that. I think it's a cool new split design, definitely very different from other vehicles on the market. In the lower section is a much larger air inlet. There's even functional air inlets on each corner along with another sensor, so that way this can get some better aerodynamics since it's such a heavy sedan. There's also really nice lines in the lower section, and I kind of like how the black surrounds the kidney grille. It makes it blend in a little bit nicer, and then we have the massive bodywork panels on each side. There's also some crisp lines running right down the middle, leading to that BMW badge front and center. So definitely a unique front end design, but I think it works very nicely. Now for the side, this has a set of 21-inch wheels with that 5 split spoke design. Also features the M Sport brakes, which are finished off in blue. This has the adaptive suspension as well. Body colored side mirrors, which have the gloss black base to them. They feature a camera along with the integrated turn signal. This has a full moonroof, so of course that's finished off in black, along with all the window trim and the door handles too. I'm really digging the black and the white. There's even more black in the lower side skirt, along with all these sensors. So for the new 7 Series, these doors can open and close automatically. You do have to push a button to activate that, but the sensors are there to keep the doors from opening up into something you don't want them to hit. And for the 7 Series, I like this design. A little bit of a boxy look to it for that roof going all the way down right behind that back window. And then there's some great lines running in the lower section. And that leads us to this rear where this has a very small gloss black trunk mounted spoiler, BMW badge with the integrated camera in that badge, which is nice to see. Now there's dark housings for the LED taillights, a little bit sleeker and thinner than you'd see in previous models. All the backup sensors, more gloss black is in the lower diffuser. And this also has the quad tip dual exhaust along with the reverse light right in the middle. But let's bring this 760i to life. So this does have remote start. So if I triple tap the lock button on the keypad, this will automatically start up. And you can hear that V8. If I triple tap this button again, it will shut off. So it's nice that you have that feature. You can also use the button on the key fob to release the trunk, or you can use the button that's placed right in the middle. So if I push on this with the power trunk lid, it will go ahead and open up. And for this 7 Series, there's a lot of space in the back. Really nice flat surface, so you can put in a lot of items if you need to. There's a cutout right in the middle of the back seats too, as the entire rear seat does not fold down. You have a little bit of storage over on that driver's side there. No storage up underneath the floor there, but you still have a lot of space. There's also a cubby over on this passenger side, so you can use that as needed. And then you can close and lock the vehicle. The one on that left side will just close it. So for the size of this, you have an ample amount of room. Now let's make our way to the back seats, where the door handles have a pretty cool design to them. They're pretty much exposed, as I would call it. You can see there's a sensor on them, and then you just have to reach in. You can grab that to release the door and then open it up the rest of the way. Now for this interior, you can see that the sunshades are currently up for this side, and we have this dark maroon leather Very nice contrast against this white. There's lock and unlock along with the window controls. You have a little bit of storage in the lower section. There's one of the speakers. This is the all new release button for the 7 Series. There is a manual adjustment, so if the battery does die, you can still get out. There's also the button that you can use to close this door, which I'll come back to. And then there's even this keypad, or mini phone as I'll call it, in the door panel. You can go through all of the climate adjustments, which is pretty cool to see. You can turn this on and off. You even have the heated seat adjustments. You can go back to display, go into my modes, so you can configure what you'd like to see on all these screens. There's your phone, even displays that you can go into for the brightness. So that is pretty awesome to have within the door panel itself. And then that red color, maroon color makes its way to these seats. Gives it an excellent look. Now at 5'10", I'll hop into the back seats where I have so much space. There is a lot of room. You have 2 air vents right in the middle, and then a little bit of storage space down in the lower section with a small lip, so you can place your phone or other items. Really nice trim pieces. There's storage pockets behind both front seats as well. And then if I don't feel like reaching all the way to that grab handle, I can reach a little bit less far and have the door brought to me, which is pretty cool. Headroom, I have around 3 or 4 inches above my head, so you can just relax, be chauffeured around in your 760i. Let's come back to this door panel control here just for a second. So if we go to the My Modes, just by pushing on these, you'll actually see it change on the infotainment system, which I'll come back to. And then you can also adjust all of these blinds. So if I push on the side one, you will see that go up for the passenger side. And you can tell if they're clear or they're black. You can depict which ones are open and which ones are closed. So I just closed all of them so that way you can get a look around. Visibility is also pretty roomy and spacious. Right in the middle, if I pull this down, there's a little bit of storage on the back section with some auxiliaries so you can charge electronics, and you can actually slide the forward section forwards to reveal 2 cup holders. So it's pretty awesome to have that. And then you do get some access, like I mentioned earlier, to the back. So if you have some longer items that you need to place through, you have at least the option to do that. But definitely a nice place to be. There's also the interior ambient lighting. You can see that under the doors at the moment. And then again, if I don't want to open the door myself, I can simply push on that button. I can also push on it as I exit. So there you go. Now as we work our way to the driver door panel, just like the rear, this has all these seating adjustments, which are finished off in crystal. There's this entire light here. It's an ambient lighting strip, which you'll see later, that has lock and unlock. It also has the massaging seat functions, some memory seating adjustments, all of the window controls, power folding side mirrors, the trunk release, and a little bit of storage in the lower section. The M badge is also down on the door sill, which is an illuminating badge. And then take a look at these front seats. Very, very nice design. And it's just as easy to enter these front seats. Now, in order to put the seat back, as I'm a little bit far away, I don't feel like reaching for that door either. And it can come to me, and now I can roll back just a little bit here, and we can take a look at this solid leather steering wheel. It has a flat bottom design with the M badge. Really cool spokes for the lower section there, more brushed aluminum, and a lot of controls on each side. Let's bring the 760i though back to life. With my foot on the brake, we have that crystal button down below, and we can fire this up. And now looking at the all-new gauge cluster and the infotainment system, we have right around 38 inches. If you combine both of these together, it's a nice curved screen that I think gives the new 7 Series a great look. Now for this gauge cluster, currently you can see miles per hour on that left side, along with that graphic on the right side. I adjusted that from the back, as you saw earlier, with the different driving modes, which we'll come back to here. In the lower section, there's some more fixed information that you can see. So over on the right side of the steering wheel, you'll see volume along with music. There's also Bluetooth commands. And then by using this control here, along with that settings button, I can actually pull up a lot more information or content that you can view within the system. So you can see some individual information there. If I scroll down now, there's the adaptive cruise, so you can monitor that. There's also the augmented view. So you basically have a camera system where you can see what's in front of you. Very nice to have that. There's your route preview. So basically that's the compass. You can also pull up the navigation and the map. You can also view a G meter too for a massive sedan like this. Pretty cool to see that. And then there's also music, so you can monitor that. Now if I scroll over to the head-up display, Hopefully you can see that on camera. You may or may not be able to. Currently it's showing miles per hour along with the speed limit sign. If I scroll down, this is the directional view, so it pulls up the compass. And then the last one is the assisted view. So just depending, there's also a sport mode too, and then the reduced view. So just depending on what you'd like to see, you can also configure that. So pretty neat to see that. And then the background for the gauge cluster will change with the different driving modes. Now on this left side, this is the cruise control settings. This also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters along with a boost. So you can use that boost for the hybrid electric system, which we will test once we get this out on the road. Now over on this left side of the steering wheel, there's the headlight adjustments. You also have some of the sunshade adjustments. Just by pushing on that, you can look at the lighting and then additional settings. So that will kind of configure with the sunshades as well. And then there's also the automatic for the door and then the air vent adjustment too. There's some really nice trim accents to the left of that. And then right in the middle, we have the infotainment system where we can go through a lot more information. So on the home screen, pretty much like every other BMW and some of their older screens, we have the map. You can look at your music, your phone. You have your track on route. You can even go to My BMW and go through a lot more apps. So you can configure anything that you need to within this vehicle, which is very cool to see. If I go back to home, you can also add widgets too, so just depending on what you'd like to see. And if you haven't noticed, the climate adjustments are fixed. So there's no physical buttons for that, but it's nice that they are easily accessible depending on what you're doing. And for this, you can see the heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. You have all of your driver controls. Then you have a line for all of your passenger adjustments, so you can easily swipe over and gain access to all of that. So I like how quick it is to get to those. On this left side, there's shortcuts to media along with your phone. You can even pull up the map so you have that in full screen. The last 4 squares here gets you to more of this driver information. So you can scroll through that using this dial down below, which is also finished off in crystal. And you have shortcuts to your phone, media, navigation, and home. So it's nice that you have a lot of settings to go through. Now there's more of that wood trim just underneath that going all the way to the passenger side. And maybe you can tell the strip is currently blue right now. It will change colors depending on the driving modes. It's going to a little bit of a gold color on the back there. Very neat to see that. There's more AC controls in the middle along with hazards, and we even have the glove box release. So by pushing on that, you can quickly open that up. It is manual to close, of course. There's also some more air vent adjustments just underneath that. And then there's a small tray. This is a wireless charging pad. You can place some items. There are 2 cup holders, and you can hide these if you'd like to. They do also have a lighting strip, which will light up just depending on the mode that you're in, so you can quickly open and close those. Also over on this right side is the crystal volume knob for your radio. On this left side, we have that engine start stop button, as I mentioned, even the crystal shifter. So if I push this forwards, you will see that backup camera up here. There's also the top-down view along with some presets that you can quickly get to. If I go back to the assisted parking, you have that rear view. We also have the panorama view, so more of a widescreen angle. You can even go into that 3D view again. So you have the gesture control along with being able to push all of these, and you can see exactly what's around this vehicle. So it's pretty awesome to have that. There's a top-down view too if you need to use that. Plenty of visibility for this massive sedan. Now drive is all the way into the back. If I pull on it one more time, that is for sport mode, so that allows you to use those paddle shifters. Now what's interesting is there's actually no park. So just by pushing on the electronic parking brake, you will see that up here for park, the electronic parking brake is on, you are good to go. Now behind that is a auto hold. There's also the parking sensors, which you can turn on and off. And this even has the driver assistance and the drivetrain and chassis. So that is a quick shortcut to get to all this information that you can go through, as well as the drivetrain. You can go through the support, the parking brake, even tire chains if you need to do that for your 760i. Now this also has the adaptive suspension, which you can raise and lower by using that button. And then you have the different modes like you saw in the rear door panel. So just by pushing on this, everything will change to a different color. You will see now this is more of a light blue. If I go over to personal, it will change again. Now right in the middle, you can see the X pattern in the perforated leather. If I open this up, there's actually a good amount of storage for any items that you'd like to place there. And then we'll take a look at the full moonroof with that intricate design running throughout it. There's also a call button. The dome lights are up top too. And you even have a shortcut to the reading lights along with the ambient lighting and the brightness that you can adjust. So it's pretty cool to see that. There's also the sunroof adjustments right in the middle as well. Now that we're behind the wheel for the all-new 760i, this model here has an MSRP right around $122,000. and that's really not even fully loaded. This is more of a base model 760i. I was recently in the i7, which is essentially the 7 Series, just fully electric, that had the theater screen that was in the sunroof there in the back section there, or the panoramic roof, and it had a few other features. So this one is a little bit more basic, so you do have room to add to that MSRP, just depending on what you'd like to have for your 760i. Now, one thing that I did forget to mention earlier is the fact that this also has rear wheel steering. And I noticed that in the i7 as well. For the size of this, it makes it so much more maneuverable. You're getting a lot for that $120,000 price tag, and you're also getting the gas engine. So if you're not an electric type of person for a vehicle like I am, and you want that V8 engine, there's no more V12 option. But if you want the V8 and you want your luxury sedan to sound like this, okay, maybe a little underwhelming. I mean, it is a 7 Series. You don't have to have it to be like crazy loud, but it still sounds good. You still have that gas engine, that V8 engine, if you want a 760i. So not as loud as I was expecting, but let's use these paddles and see how responsive they are from second gear. Here we go. I mean, for 5,000 pounds, you know, it gets up and moves. You also have the boost paddle. So essentially that's the downshifting paddle, but if you're in drive and you hold it for 2 or 3 seconds, it'll give you a power boost or a sport boost. So as we come around this turn, I'm going to hold on the downshift paddle. Now we have a timer counting down from 10 seconds. I don't know if it's a gimmick or not. Might give you a little bit more throttle response quicker, so kind of tricking the accelerator slightly. But it's cool that you have that. For a 5,000 pound vehicle, if you need a downshift, you need to get that power going, you got a little bit of boost from that electric system, which I do think is cool. Had this purely been a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 and that was it, you wouldn't get as much efficiency as adding that hybrid electric system. It only adds like 10 or 15 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque. I don't know if that horsepower number is correct, but it's not significant in the total output for the torque it is. So it's nice that you get that. Gives you a little bit more fuel economy as well, which is nice to see. I think hybrid electric systems with a gasoline engine is definitely a fantastic option, and I would like to see that more versus electric vehicles. Whole other debate on that, but I do think the hybrid electric system is pretty cool. So with this 760i, it drives like a 7 Series should. Like I said, I was in the i7 a couple weeks ago, so it's essentially the same car. I got the massaging seats on right now. It's so comfortable and quiet. I love how quiet it is on the interior as well. And with it in sport mode, here we go. You can definitely feel the weight. But even though it weighs around 5,000 pounds, being a sedan versus an SUV like what you see in front of me, it has a lower center of gravity. So I feel like it can handle these turns much nicer, even though it has that heavy curb weight to it. Now, this isn't a vehicle that you're going to take to the track or you want to do spirited driving with, but it does have some capabilities with that weight to handle turns at normal rates of speed very nicely, and it's also going to do that very comfortably at the same time. It is so comfortable and quiet. You really don't hear anything aside from what's happening on the inside of this interior. A little bit. You can hear those cars, but this is what you would expect from the 7 Series, essentially the top tier for the BMW sedan lineup. And it's so nice with all of the leather, all of these materials. I like the new setup too. That's just a personal preference. However, when you want to, in your luxury sedan, it doesn't feel crazy fast, but again, you're moving a lot of weight too. But for the weight, it gets up and moves. And for that $120,000 price tag, I think it's justifiable. When I was in the i7, That model that I was in was about 141, and it was fully loaded. It had the theater screen, a lot of other exterior trim pieces compared to this model here. And I absolutely thought that that i7 was well worth the price, because at that level, you're competing with Bentleys, you know, other luxury brands that are even higher than BMW. And on a side note, that U-turn was so quick, you can feel the rear end kick out with the steering. But when you compare BMW to some of those next level, to some people, BMW is that next level. And then you go to Bentegas, you go to the Lamborghini Uruses, you know, you go to that level of luxury and performance in a sense. Rolls-Royce even. The BMW is a bargain at the price. Now, I would like to see this particular model with some more upgrades. I'd like to see that screen. I'd like to see maybe some carbon fiber, you know, personal preference, taste, trims, things like that. That's kind of beside the point, but a little bit more features. I can still see this being a good vehicle for the price. You're getting that V8 engine. You're getting a massive sedan that is a great daily driver. Someone can drive you around in it. You have a lot of technology, a lot of features to help justify that price point. And you're getting a heck of a vehicle. I would like to hear it a little bit louder, but you're definitely getting a very nice luxury sedan. That is going to wrap it up though for the all new 7 Series. Pretty cool to check this out. If you want to see the electric version, so the i7, I did a review on that vehicle as well. You can check that out too. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And with one last acceleration, I will see you all in the next video.